Being 5:43, I'd like to call the Capital Projects and Equipment Committee to order, January 6th meeting to order. We don't have to do the pledge. We had a roll call taken. Looking to adopt a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved, yeah. Second.
Motion made by Mr. Barrington, second by Mr. Dorsey to adopt the agenda. Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we'll move on to consider a funding request to hire a company to relocate all library books, materials, and furniture to the new public library location in the amounts of $35,000. Yeah.
Hi, thank you for having me tonight. I know that we're out of order because in February, I think you're having the real capital projects. However, in order to secure the contract with the mover, he needed to have a okay by the mid-January. So we needed to come to you before that happened to talk about this $35,000 request. And we're requesting it contingent upon not securing funds from other sources. And those other sources would be, during the planning for the library's move, we anticipated having remaining funds available from the $400,000 contingency fund that we had in our budget. Unfortunately, unforeseen complications with the elevator, especially the elevator, required the use of the final. I had 125,000 because that's what we anticipated, but it's going to be a nice surprise. But that took up the rest of the funds from that contingency fund. We explored the possibility of using city staff to assist with the move. However, we were advised that this would not be feasible. The use of volunteers was also discussed, but due to the scope and physical demands of the move, this is not a viable or appropriate option. So I contacted two professional moving companies to obtain estimates for the project. One company provided a quote of $80,000 and the second provided a quote of $50,000. We will be receiving a $10,000 gift from the Carnegie Foundation. I don't know if you guys have seen that in the news, but celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States, every Carnegie Library in the United States will be receiving a gift of $10,000. To do with no strings attached. We can use it for whatever we want. And we will not be, we'll probably be buying new shelving for the children's department. That was already budgeted in our construction budget. And so that would be another $5,000 reduction in the estimated $50,000, bringing it to $35,000. Now, with the lowered cost of the elevator, that may reduce the amount that we need. We may not need the entire $35,000, since we were anticipating that being 125, and I think it's 89, or if that bid is accepted. There's some other things that we're contemplating not having done, but there were a lot of unforeseen issues. We never thought we'd come close to that $100,000.
Well, there's a reason why you have it there, just in case. And Keller and Devin did say that, I mean, you renovate an old building, you start tearing down the walls, you're finding things. And I'm not, Ann can kind of go through a little bit more what some of the larger change orders were, but here's a listing just of the change orders that came through. Now, if you see 74,000 on here, it's not one change order. That's like 10 different change orders. But this is generally what the running total is right now. The change orders that have been approved by the Library Museum Board are in black, right there. We're anticipating, and these are the ones that read are kind of estimated yet. 2 different change orders coming forward yet for, I don't even remember what's all on there yet. And we have a representative from Keller here if we have any questions from our engineer. The elevator, we'll talk about next at the council meeting, and the reason why that's put on there. State approved delay, there was a delay in getting the state approved plans for the project. So the contractor started the project but had to wait because there was some miscommunication of how things were going to get approved. We had to wait for the state to get all their approvals done. So there was some delays with that. That $20,000 Keller is still negotiating with the contractor to see where that falls. But since the delay of the project was occurred, some of the equipment that they had to rent and some of the other things, they had to pay more for rentals of those equipments that needed to have on site. Elevator ceiling, that's going to be talked about next at the council meeting. And then there's a credit that's going to be negotiated in there as well that the contractors is looking at providing. So right now, if you add up all those type of items, we're at about $382,000. So pretty close to that $400,000 budgeted contingency threshold right now, and has anticipated about $17,000 depending on how these things pan out. So I don't know if you want to kind of take it from there about anything else.
Oh, like some of the bigger items,
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of talk about some of those bigger items, the change orders,
like the
when the walls came down.
$20,000 swimming pool that was in the middle of the library because there was rotted joists, mold. So they had to take out a 20 by 20 foot section of the floor, put gravel in that, redo the joists, remove the mold, and reconcrete it. So that was 22, something like that. 25, somewhere in that area. I don't know if you guys remember walking through the bank, but there was a 2-inch gap of the wall and the floor. So the joist wasn't connected correctly. Not sure how much that cost, but that was
There was
another.
some floor settling going on, so they had
Yeah,
put some floor
leveling of
leveling
the
in.
floors. The floors were like pencils would roll. In one section, I think they had to come up an inch or an inch and a half. I think that all added up to about 20. I don't, maybe you guys can help me with the bigger things. I mean, it all just kept, I called it the trailer of horrors. Every time we went to the trailer, it was more change orders. Sure.
Did you put out a bid for this for them?
No, I just got 2 estimates. I do believe we have to get a bid for this.
Since this is not an installation really of materials, it's just moving the materials, and just required is to get quotes for this.
So I got quotes from 2 companies that are professional library. It's the books. I mean, we have 49,000 books. So packing those up, moving them, putting them back in order, moving the shelves, because the adult shelving will remain. So they have to take all the books off the shelving, disassemble, move them to the other library, assemble them, and then move the books. So you have to have places to put the books until you move them. So boxes, carts,
Are you having new shelves at the?
just on one side, just
You're
the,
moving the shelves as
yeah,
well?
yes,
And the furniture is moving as well?
yes.
Not the new furniture?
Not at this time. We don't. Budget. We may get some new furniture depending on how the rest of the budget looks, but right now, we're gonna use whatever we can from the library.
Any other questions?
I
So-
just want to recap on this, my understanding of it. So the estimate is much larger than 35,000. But you also might not need the entire 35,000.
Correct.
Okay, so any kind of motion on this would be for actual expenses not to exceed 35,000.
Correct. And again, we may not need that depending on how the rest of the stuff falls. I just, what we need the money for is to be able to say to the mover, put us on your calendar.
Okay.
When is the move expected to be taking place?
March 1st. Maybe. That, don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that out there. That's when the building is supposed to be turned over to us. And he's anticipating 2 to 3 weeks to move.
They would catalog all the books.
They measure and mark so that they would take the, like if you want 10 inches on each, then they measure out the books and they say, we'll leave 10 inches on the end. And then they mark each end of the books. They mark the shelf and then they pack it and then they come out, they say, oh, there's 1A. So you mark it 1A and then the shelf is 1A and then you put the books there. That's the important part, see, not moving, putting them back in order. That's the crucial.
Yeah, I was thinking about renting a truck for that price, but yeah, I'm not putting them back in order.
And it's 49,000 books, so imagine what a box of books weighs.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I guess I would entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve up to $35,000, not to exceed actual expenses, to hire a company to relocate all the library books, materials, and furniture to the new public library location at 401 West North Water Street.
And out of the capital projects budget.
Yes, out of the capital projects budget.
You got a motion?
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Croy and seconded by Mr. Fache. Any further discussion?
I just want to say, for such a multi-million-dollar project, I feel like we've not been updated on this project very often. Like, I'd like to know what we're spending. It seems like everything is hush hush. So I would like to have a little bit more clarity, like more updates. I mean, it's been how many months since you've been here? 6 months, 8 months. I mean, we have not had any updates. And we had a walkthrough of it once, but.
So are you asking for a committee update or a committee on-site update?
I just.
I would love to invite you right now to come.
What the total expense is, because this is becoming a money pit. So. I'd like to be updated a little bit more often. Once-
Right now, I was going to invite you tonight to come to a walkthrough whenever it's convenient for the council. I don't, besides the budget was approved.
And
we're
obviously,
not-
the library museum board hasn't come directly to this, but all those expenditures were approved at the library museum board meetings and all those minutes were in the council packets. Granted, you'd have to review those, but all those expenditures, every single one of those change orders that were reviewed by the library museum board were in your council packets every month. So
I just think $50,000 to move 2 blocks, a bunch of books is absurd. I can't imagine the Friends of the Library wouldn't help out with the city here. I just, that's a huge amount of money to move some books. So I'm just.
I think the issue with it isn't just moving books, it's taking them off the shelves and putting them back on new shelves in the correct cataloged order.
We have librarians. What are they doing all day?
With the amount of books that there are to deal with, I think that it would probably take them a couple months to do that and double check it and verify it. When you can hire somebody who does this professionally, who will come in and box up what they need. I think there's tutorials out there about what these businesses do and how they have to do it. And to remain a functioning library in the interim, I don't see this as out of the ordinary for expenses.
And do you have any examples of other library movements? I know we've had some within the state. Do you know any of that information?
Well, Appleton used them for their 3 moves.
Okay,
Kokana used them for their move.
so that's a typical move? I mean, if that's. a
Oh,
typical
Appleton,
process.
now imagine Appleton's a lot larger than us, but they spent over 100,000 on each of them.
Do you know of any other
I mean,
libraries?
we talked about the city crew doing it and we're told that was impossible. That's how we were planning it to begin with, to be honest.
I don't want the city responsible. I want the movers insurance company to pay for it if something happens.
Well, and that was the other thing.
49,000 books.
Volunteers the liability and somebody hurting their back. I mean,
But to
I mean,
Tim's point, this is the first I've heard about a 20-foot lake in the middle of the library, and stuff like that. I mean, nobody's heard about any of that, and we also gotta be smart about it, that it doesn't become a city taxpayers' money pit, that we keep funneling money from capital projects to the new library. I understand we need this money, I get that, but we still gotta be smart about what we're doing. I don't think $35,000 extra to move the books is that much money.
Any further discussion?
I'd just like to note that when you take a 40-year-old building, even though it was donated to you, you automatically added more cost than it would have been to build new. If you didn't think that there was gonna be some issues with this building, you're kidding yourself. Yeah, I think nobody's keeping anything from anybody. I just think that let's not get hung up on things right towards the victory line here, and there may be more issues come up. We're looking at a 40-year-old building.
well, one half of it was 40, the other half's over 100.
Yeah, that's a very old
Very old.
structure.
That's the part that had the biggest problem.
So just gotta mention that we didn't inherit a brand new building. So something to keep in mind here.
Yeah, it's less than a buck a book to move this with all the materials and furniture. That seems a pretty good price. And I know that there have been comments out there, and there've been things out there about doing the book brigade. And I think about the sheer logistics of, and the safety having to cross over the Pearl Street Bridge and shutting down that intersection there at Pearl and West North Water. And doing stuff like that, and then any kind of liability the city would have asking for volunteers, that just doesn't seem realistic. And anybody who's done any work at all in a library understands the value of a properly cataloged library. You can lose a book for years if it's improperly cataloged, improperly shelved. It's gone. You can't figure out where it is. So, that's just my 2 cents on it.
I also shared Tim and Dave's thought of when you first started this project, we gave you $750,000 with the understanding that you were gonna come up with the rest of the money. And now you're already asking for something. Okay, when's it gonna end? Is it gonna be a money pit for us?
Well, we raised over $2 million, which is quite a lot for a small group of people to do.
How was the last time you came to us, you said that there was a bunch of donors that had pledges, and
Right,
that if
and
those
they all-
pledges came,
Those pledges have come in,
they all came in.
except for 2, 3.
So like stuff like that, I'd like to be updated on.
So that's $10,000. One was 8, one was 1. How much? Oh, one was 15, so 20. thousand.
This cannot be a money pit. I have to agree with that concept.
Well, we also have to remember that this building is owned by the city yet. So it is our money pit too.
Any further discussion?
I just wanna add, I mean, I do feel a lot better about this knowing that we didn't, or that we are not refurnishing this whole thing also, and then asking for more money. So, you know, using the stuff from the other library is a big plus, you know, we're not just getting all new stuff and so, shit, I ran out of money. You know, now we need more. So I
Nope.
mean, if they're, as long, you know, they're being smart about it. So that's big. I mean, you know, that's a lot.
I just want them to be aware of our end of it. Not on endless funds neither, you know. Any further discussion?
We understand that.
So at the next meeting, I'd like to see what those pledges came in. I'd like to see how the fundraising has gone. You know, you said that you had a bunch of pledges and you're gonna come in under budget. And I'd like to see, you know, when is this gonna be open? I mean, heard that, is everything up and up? Is it gonna be open on time? Is it May 1st, June 1st?
So the elevator obviously is setting us back 4 weeks. What's the lead time to get this stuff? 8 weeks to get the parts. And 4 weeks to do the work. So we're 12 weeks out. I believe Eight Pine is on time or slightly ahead. So March 1st is slightly ahead of their first anticipated time. But, so we're probably only gonna be able to open the first floor to start with. And then the elevator is gonna get fixed and then we'll open the second floor.
And also just the total budget, I'd like to see what we spent on this or what, you know, what else needs to be done. Like I said, I just feel like we're being kept in the dark. So I'd like to have more updates.
So all that's been spent right now is the construction, whatever the bid was. We haven't spent any other money. So whatever the bid was, they have like one more payment or two more payments. The trust fund, the money that we have collected from donations is what's paying the bills until the state reimburses us. So the money that we have in our trust fund is actually paying for everything that cycles through. So the grant is coming in, but we first pay it.
Correct, so I pulled the money out of their library and museum trust until the interim time of which those checks get cashed. And then the state pays us back and then I move the money back into their trust, so they have been fully funding. Which we were under the understanding of because we do have currently quite a bit of our dollars out for our street project. So we knew that in advance and I talked to Ann about that. We would not be able to fund this for them. So we have been doing that project. And I think one of the other things to also know is that currently this project is not over budget. So that $400,000 in contingency, although they're getting close to it, was part of the original budget. And fortunately, it's been covering it so far. I know they are getting closer and closer to the end of the project, and I definitely do not want to say that nothing else is going to come up because I'm not that smart enough about construction and everything else. But currently, they are close to budget, probably a little tighter than we would like to, but they're not over budget. So let's just, you know, hope that things smooth out here at the end of the project and we're able to keep it within the initial budget that we've already approved. So, yeah, I would have definitely had some of this stuff went over budget as far as a total project was concerned. And a lot of times I look at our own city budget in that way too. Not every single line item, but at the end of the day, that bottom number is what you're looking to come under So at this point, they are still within budget, but again, creeping a little bit closer than we would have liked to, you know, like to.
To piggyback off of that, I did find this is the budget that was part of the grant process and the grant application. So, the grant that the city received equals the $4.25 million. And that's indicated between general construction, and there was different criteria that had to have been separated out for the grant. So it's between the general construction and some digital materials and things like that. These two numbers here add up into the grant money. And then there's the local funds, and then there's other things that were identified that was part of the local match. So between what the library and museum board and Friends Group fundraised, between the $750,000 that was contributed by the city, that gets you to the $2.7 million threshold there. And to Judy's point, like she said, the $400,000 was in the original budget as contingency. You're renovating, like John said, you're renovating an old building, you're gonna find things. So this is the first time where there's, like Judy said, it's close. It's just really getting close to that. But this was the budget put together for the library museum project at about $6.9 million total for a budget at this point in time.
We've seen this before, haven't we?
Hmm?
Yeah, okay, I'm like,
It's
this is
been
not
quite-
new to me. I've seen this before. I didn't know if it was in council or in the library minutes, but or somewhere in their packets, but I do remember seeing this. So it's not like we haven't been told.
This was the grant application, and this was adjusted. The 4.25 million was previously, what was it, 3.9?
3.9.
So this got adjusted to 4.2, brought in, $300,000 more dollars, $350,000 more dollars, when they were awarded additional grant funding for the project.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I appreciate the transparency. That makes me feel a lot better. I just, like I said, the only time you come here is to ask for money. I just wanted some updates. I appreciate that. And you cleared it up, so.
Any further discussion?
Just for clarification, you're good with that? You don't want any further updates?
Well, it would be nice to, know what's going on. Like I said, it's been like 6 months since we've had seen you here. Or, we can read the minutes or whatever. It'd be nice to have you come and say, hey, it's going well. Everything's getting done. We're staying within budget.
Well, again, we are inviting you to another walkthrough whenever you can arrange it. I don't know what days are good for you. I know it's usually in the evening, so we'd have to plan with Keller or 8 Pine to be there, because they're off after that, but or early morning. Maybe Chad can have a couple days or something.
If you guys want to pick a date right now, I mean, and to let Ann know to just try to schedule for a walkthrough.
It'd have to be at night.
Yeah.
That's a Monday.
Would Monday, January 12th, 5:15, like our normal committee time? I would just have to put out an agenda for, as you guys are getting together.
Because we shouldn't have no meeting.
Mm-mm.
should
You'll
be
have
good.
council on the third, let's see.
Council's
No, we won't
20th.
have any meetings next week.
Yep, no meeting.
Works for me.
That work for everybody? 5:15?
Okay, I will post that
That's our
again.
board meeting, so we just have to put it as part of our agenda.
What time is the board meeting at?
5.
Okay.
So we could just have the board also come. Would that work?
Okay.
Okay, that works for you.
Okay, we have a motion and second on any other discussion? Seeing none, we're gonna go to roll vote.
As well.
Yeah, the mayor can vote, he just can't, the way the system is set up, so you vote yes as well. Okay.
So motion was carried, would it be 9-1? Thanks, Ann. And
Thank
I
you
look
very
forward to
much.
Coming through that Monday.
Yep. We look forward to having you. Looks great.
Good, good. Next, we'll move on to reminder, the next scheduled meeting immediately following the February 4th, 2026 Finance and Personnel Committee meeting. Nobody should have a problem with that. Any other discussion? If none, I'd look for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Dorsey, second Mr. Barrington for adjournment. Any further questions?